consumers' attitude formation and change. An attitude can be defined as a learned predisposition to respond to an object or a class of objects in a consistently favorable or unfavorable way. Attitudes are created by first creating beliefs. Consumer beliefs are the knowledge that a consumer has about the object, their attributes, and the benefits provided by the objects. They are created by focusing information as studied in the last lesson. This lesson discusses formation and change of consumers' attitude. It follows from the previous slide that after studying this lesson, you should be able to analyze the characteristics and function of attitude, analyze the models of attitude, analyze the strategies for attitude change, analyze the cognitive dissonance and attribution theory. The main characteristics of attitude are that it is difficult to measure. It may create inflexibility and stereotypes. It is formed largely from continuous process of socialization. Real attitude is only positive. Once formed, it is not easy to change. It is relatively enduring and is situation related. Understanding functions of attitudes help in learning how they serve consumers. According to Daniel Katz, attitudes perform 4 important functions for individuals. 1. Utilitarian function. 2. Value expressive function. 3. Ego defensive function. 4. Knowledge function. Utilitarian function is related to the basic principles of rewards and punishments. We develop some attitudes towards products simply on the basis of whether these products provide pleasure or pain. If a person likes the taste of a cheeseburger, that person will develop a positive attitude towards cheeseburgers. Ads that stress straightforward product benefits, example, you should drink Diet Coke just for the taste of it, appeal to utilitarian function. Attitudes that perform a value expressive function express the consumer's central values or self-concept. A person forms a product attitude not because of objective product benefits, but rather because of what using the product says about him or her as a person. Example, what sort of a man reads Playboy? Value expressive attitudes are highly relevant to lifestyle analysis, where consumer cultivates a cluster of activities, interests and opinion to express a particular social identity. Attitudes that are formed to protect the person either from external threats or internal feelings of insecurity perform an ego defensive function. Products that promise to help a man project a macho image, example Marlboro cigarettes, may be appealing to his insecurities about masculinity. Many deodorant campaigns stress the dire embarrassing consequence of being caught with underarm odor in public. Some attitudes are formed as a result of a need for order, structure, or meaning. This need is often present when a person is in an ambiguous situation or is confronted with a new product. Example, Bayer wants you to know about pain relievers. Now, read the 3 statements made by different people at different points in time. Answer, people with what function of attitude will make which comment. The tri-component attitude model considers all 3 components to be present in an attitude, with each component playing an important role in attitude formation and having the potential to influence the overall attitude. The multi-attribute attitude model, in particular, the model advanced by Martin Fishbane, considers all 3 components. The attitude towards object model looks at both the cognitive and affective components, with the B or belief variable representing the consumer's cognition and the E variable representing the affective component. The attitude towards behavior model looks at behavioral intent, the cognitive component, as well as the affective component. Fishbane's theory of reason-action model combines all 3 components. Attitudes towards a product can be changed by highlighting new functions of the product, or by associating them with celebrities, by changing the belief a consumer has regarding the product, or by getting the consumer more involved in the product. On the basis of Fishbane's multi-attribute model, 4 strategies can be considered to change attitudes. They are the changing values consumer places on product attributes, changing consumers' brand beliefs, changing brand evaluations, changing behavioral intentions, etc. Daniel Katz pointed out 4 functions performed by attitude. As already discussed, these functions include utilitarian functions, value-expressive functions, ego-defensive function, and knowledge functions. As discussed earlier, under conditions of high involvement, consumers process information through a central route. They deliberately and consciously examine and process message elements that in their belief have relevance to a meaningful and logical evaluation of the brand. Under conditions of low involvement, consumers use more peripheral route, in which non-message elements such as music, color, or spokesperson are more likely to be processed. This means that under high involvement conditions, attitude change can be best accomplished through messages that convey information about product attributes, benefits, and under conditions of low involvement, attitude change can be best achieved through the use of effective spokesperson and brand symbols. According to cognitive dissonance theory, there is a tendency for individuals to seek consistency among their cognitions. When there is an inconsistency between attitudes or behaviors, something must change to eliminate the dissonance. In the case of a discrepancy between attitudes and behaviors, it is most likely that attitudes will change to accommodate behavior. 2 factors affect the strength of dissonance: the number of dissonant beliefs and the importance attached to each belief. There are 3 ways to eliminate dissonance: reduce the importance of dissonant beliefs, add more consonant beliefs that outweigh the dissonant belief, or change the dissonant beliefs so that they are no longer inconsistent. Dissonance occurs most often in situations where an individual must choose between 2 incompatible beliefs or actions. The greatest dissonance is created when 2 alternatives are equally attractive. Furthermore, attitude change is more likely in the direction of less incentive, since this results in lower dissonance. Attribution theory states that consumers' assumptions about a product or situation are derived from the consumer's experience, personality, or attitudes. For example, a consumer who has had a poor experience with a domestic automobile and a good experience with an import might attribute the quality of the import to the fact that it is not US made. Such a consumer will be predisposed towards a product that emphasizes their foreign origin. Similarly, a product endorsement by a celebrity is perceived to be unethical will be attributed to the money being paid for the endorsement and not to the celebrity's honest assessment of the product. Now let us check if we have understood the various concepts discussed in this lesson clearly. Attribute can be defined as the way we think, feel, and act towards some aspect of environment. True or false? Wrong. Utilitarian function is an attitude function that helps consumers achieve desired benefits. Right or wrong? Right. It is easier to change brand feelings than brand beliefs. Right or wrong? Wrong. Before we end, let us briefly revise what we've studied till so far. Attitudes are learned predispositions and represent an enduring organization of motivational, emotional, perceptual, and cognitive process with respect to some aspect of our environment. Attitudes are viewed to have 3 components. The cognitive component consists of an individual's beliefs or knowledge about the attitude object. The affective component represents the feeling or emotions towards the attitude object, and the behavioral or cognitive component reflects the overt actions and statements of behavioral intentions with respect to specific attributes of the attitude object or overall object. The 3 components of attitude generally tend to be consistent with each other. Multi-attribute attitude model proposes that consumers' attitude about an attitude object is a function of perception and assessment of important attributes or beliefs held about a certain attitude object. Attitudes perform several functions. Utilitarian function serves consumers in accomplishing desired benefits. Value-expressive function serves to reflect the consumer's self-image, values, and outlooks. Ego-defensive function helps protect one's ego or self-image from anxieties and threats. And knowledge function serves to organize information and reduce uncertainty and confusion for individuals. Marketers are ultimately concerned about influencing consumers' behavior. and attitudes are believed to be the precursor of behavior. Attitude change strategies can focus on any of the attitude components: thinking, feeling, behavioral, or some combination of these components. Changing consumers' cognition or belief usually involves information processing and cognitive learning. Attempting to influence feelings or the affective component generally involves classical conditioning approaches. And to bring about a change in behavior, strategies rely more on instrumental conditioning approach. It is easier for marketers to change consumers' belief than the benefits associated with the brand. Similarly, it is easier to change attitudes about low-involving products than high-involvement category products. Marketers can influence peak attitudes comparatively easily than strongly held attitudes. And finally, it is easier to change attitudes of consumers who are not really sure about their evaluation of a brand. They tend to be more receptive to informative advertising messages. Marketers can relieve consumers by providing additional information concerning the product use and care, by offering warranties and guarantees, by ensuring follow-up and good after-sales service.